grab a beer, and pull up a chair. Welcome to the Northwoods Beer Guy podcast. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Northwoods Beer Guy podcast. This is Mike, the Northwoods Beer Guy, and today we have a different co-host. We got rid of Jim. We just decided his trivia was being too mean to me, and actually he was, I think, still up north, so he couldn't make it back. So tonight I am joined by my lovely wife, Suzy. How's it going, Suzy?
Great. Thanks, Mike, for having me.
Yeah. You know, like I said, it's been almost, I think, 40 episodes since you and I did a podcast together.
It's been that long. Wow.
Yeah, it's going on almost a year. So that last episode we did was about drinking cocktails, canned cocktails. And actually, the number of downloads we've had on it is one of our higher downloaded episodes. So I'm hoping for good things today. So, you know, going into this one, I kind of had mixed emotions about this past weekend. We have a camper in northern Wisconsin, and it's the end of the season. So we closed up the camper for the winter. And it's always, when you're getting closer to that time, it's always like, oh man, there's a lot of work and all that. And it kind of sucks, to be honest. And then you get done with it and you're like, oh, now we're not going to be up there, but then, the next time you go up there, it'll be opening and starting a whole new summer. So
yeah, the summer's always way too short though.
Yeah. So like I said, we did all of that and such. So that kind of stunk, but you look back on the summer, it's been quite a summer. There's been a lot of things going on, and we've got some big trips planned in the near future that we're going to be doing some stuff, and hopefully, knock on wood, we'll be able to visit a few craft breweries in these other states and bring some more on-location stuff, because we haven't had much of that in a while. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess like I said, the last time that you were on, we did a canned cocktail, and this episode is kind of similar, I guess. But in your defense, you had told me that hey, I can drink beer again. We had explained to the listeners before that you had surgery on your Achilles a while ago, and after that you drink just a sip of beer and you were getting like sick, headaches and all that. And now it's kind of come back around, I guess.
Yep. I'm able to partake in some malt beverages, but today we're going to focus on a different line of cocktails, something that is for those people that love the taste of a good cocktail, but don't necessarily want to have the carbs or the calories.
Because as everyone out there knows, I am watching my girlish figure. So, but what I was going to say is, when you had told me that, hey, we can do one on beer, I got to looking, and almost every beer I have in the house right now is 10% or higher ABV. So I didn't think we needed to do that by ourselves. That we may want to have an extra person or two. So we got to looking, and basically, Suzy, what inspired this? I mean, as far as what do you think of when you think summer?
Well, when I think of summer, of course, definitely a nice cold beverage, usually over ice. And one thing that leads right into that is, of course, the margarita, or anything that may taste like a margarita. So today that we've decided to branch out a little bit in the crafted cocktails on the margarita side based on a tequila base, using one of my favorite brands, which is Carbliss.
I was going to say, they've really gained popularity, especially in our area. I'm guessing all over the country, I would guess.
They're regional. They're
Are
not.
they? Okay.
Yep. They more Midwest, and actually they go all the way to, I think, Louisiana now, but it's more so in the Midwest.
Okay.
It was actually started by a couple that was watching their figures, doing the low carb, low keto diet. They from Wisconsin. A couple, I think, in the year was probably, it was like 2018 or something like that. I think they came out. They found that there wasn't a good option for them for something that had low carbs and low calorie, but had a good taste. And that's where they started to go to this, basically wanted to mix their own concoctions and came up with something that they decided to market. And it's become huge.
It's funny that you say that, because I was just going to mention that in the past, everything that's been low carb and low calorie is either low flavor or, I'm sorry, but bad flavor. Mm-hmm.
A lot of the seltzers are kind of blah. I mean, they do have that fizz to it, but they don't necessarily have the flavor that is something that you could enjoy all summer long.
Now, with the Carbliss, I didn't realize that they had so many variations of a margarita. So we actually have 5 that are sitting here that we're going to try, and we'll start off with the first one, which is just margarita. So I'm guessing it's going to be like your classic margarita is what I would guess, you know, kind of that flavor. And then we go into a number of different fruits, fruit margaritas. So it should be interesting to see how they compare. You know, it's like I said, it's really kind of something how, especially in our area, how Carbliss has really built up a huge following. And there's a lot of companies now that I'm guessing have seen their success, and they're really kind of, there's a lot of people getting into this kind of, this market, you know, as far as craft beverage it's more of a cocktail based on a liquor versus the malt. Right.
And the nice thing about Carbliss too is we do have a friend that has a gluten intolerance. Actually, she's deathly, she has celiacs, which she can't have any gluten whatsoever. And Carbliss also falls into that gluten-free category because there's no malt. Malt would be bad for people that can't do gluten.
Well, see, like we always say, we not only do we entertain, we educate.
Exactly.
See, and when you educate, you're not mean to me like Jim is in his trivia questions all the time. You see, Jim, you can educate without picking on me. So
yeah, I think the first time I ever had Carbliss was at actually a wedding. Our friend Michaela, when at her wedding, was the first time that I'd ever had. But at that time, they didn't have the margarita line out. It was more just the flavored.
Okay, because they still have just regular flavors as well, right?
And they've expanded that. I think the big ones starting out were like the black. They have like a black cherry, but I mean, there's all different shades of purple when you look at the can. I have some favorites, but I really like the margarita. I think it's, especially in the summer, nice and refreshing. Something that you can enjoy on the boat.
Okay.
Hot day.
Well, I guess, you know, we've built it up quite a bit, so we might as well crack into the first one.
Right.
So this is just says margarita. So like I said, I think this is going to be like what you think of as a classic margarita. Oh, here, 0 carbs, 0 sugars, 100 calories, and gluten-free. Right on the side of the can.
Yeah, and on the top, does it say it's tequila?
Handcrafted tequila cocktail.
Yep.
All right. Well,
because I think some of the other lines of the Carbliss are based on like vodka, so they wouldn't necessarily be tequila based.
Okay, I guess I didn't realize that they have their other ones are different alcohols or however you want to say it. It looks like a margarita.
It
honestly.
does.
I mean, it really has that.
It's got some bubbles.
But I mean, when you look at it, just the color wise, it looks like that classic margarita when you think about it, you know. Well, it
smells like margarita.
Like margarita. Now, we just have taster glasses that we poured it into, so we're missing ice cubes.
And there's no salt on the rim, although after my first sip, there is a little salt kind of taste to it. I mean, you can kind of tell that it's... Do you catch a bit of sodium?
A little bit. I definitely get a sweetness for sure. You can taste the tequila, you know, but it's not like overpowering. It's really good. I hate to say it.
I normally drink it over ice. Obviously, if it's hot out.
Right.
That's
now, what size are these cans?
I think they're...
How many ounces are they? Is
it 12 ounce?
12 ounce, but they're like the skinny,
They're skinny cans like the seltzers.
Yeah. Interesting.
You have to keep those specific type of can cooler people in business.
Yeah, you know, that's one thing that is kind of funny that you've said that. I've noticed that when they go to these, all of a sudden it's like a problem because your koozies don't fit.
Yeah.
You know? So, which is brilliant on their side, you know, on any of these company sides, because then you got to buy another koozie and they just happen to sell them. So,
so this is definitely something that I could drink. And I do like to have a few cocktails out in the boat, and it's not something with normal, you know, your normal mix for a margarita. You know, you have the triple sec and the lime and the tequila, and with that for me comes heartburn immediately, and I don't get that with this.
Okay, I was just going to ask because that's one of the things I always bring up, like about hard lemonades and such. You know, like Mike's hard lemonade, for whatever reason, I get heartburn like right away after one. So I was going to say it'll be interesting to see if I get any heartburn from these, because like I said, it does have a sweetness, a little more sweetness than I guess I was expecting. I guess one thing I didn't say is they're 5% alcohol. So I mean, it's not super high, but it's you know, right in line with most of your craft beers and such for ABV.
And it does have a good taste. Yeah. It's not like, and it doesn't have like an over, because sometimes you get those seltzers or cocktails that have that really kind of overbearing aftertaste, and I don't get that with
it'll
this.
be for me, it's going to be interesting on these flavors to see if are they kind of that natural type flavor, or is because some of them they get like that almost like a Jolly Rancher way sweet. Fake fruit kind of flavor. No offense, Jolly Rancher. But you know what I'm saying? Where it's not, like an actual fruit flavor. So I'm really curious to see how.
Well, does it say on the can? I think everything is natural.
Well, I'm not sure. Got a little bit left on that one, but I'm looking on here.
Pretty sure it says it's all natural.
It is a best served when chilled or over ice. I'm trying to see. Oh, it should be right under here. And it's a little bit different. No, that's where it's made. What's on the top of there? They have a bar, or what are those? What are them code things?
QR code.
QR code on the can.
To see locations. Oh, so you could take your phone and scan that, and you can see where you can buy it at.
Interesting. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
As long as the places that they list actually have it. Yeah, I didn't see, if it said it was all natural.
Well,
anyway.
Let me do a little Google search.
Well, I guess you still have a little bit of that one. Let's see. Otherwise, we can move to the second.
What's our next flavor?
The next flavor is actually our first, and I kind of just put these in the order of kind of how I noticed the flavors before in other drinks. So this one is watermelon margarita.
Ooh.
So I'm wondering, it'll be interesting to see if you get because watermelon in other drinks that I've had, they're either like in seltzers and that, like you had said, they're really kind of hard to pick up on some of them because it's such a delicate flavor. So it'll be interesting to see what this is.
Well, here's the little marketing on the margarita variety pack. Every sip is a party with flavors like mango margarita, strawberry margarita, watermelon margarita, raspberry margarita. Dare to be different with our newest variety pack. Find your bliss.
Boy, now this one, it's like a pink color like watermelon. That's interesting because a lot of times when I've had watermelon in other types of beer, you don't see it. They don't have any kind of color to it. So this should be interesting. Oh, it smells like...
Smells just like a watermelon Jolly Rancher.
That's what I was going to say. So we'll see.
Speaking of, I don't think I've had the watermelon before.
Wow.
That's really good.
I was going to say, that's
really good.
That is not too bad, actually.
And it's sweeter than the original one.
And it does have a watermelon flavor. It's a little bit sweet, but not what I thought
like
it was
crazy sweet though.
Right.
Yeah. I think that might be the margarita side of it. They do have, according to here, not only the vodka, but they also make a rum one too.
Really?
Like
Carbliss does?
Carbliss does, based on rum, yeah.
Does it say which
variety packs?
Yeah. Is there what flavors or anything like that?
Recipes. Oh, you can mix and match. Oh, well, this is kind of cool. You can go on their website. Oh, now this would be good. Mixing some of the stuff with like hard liquor, like a bourbon berry smash where you could do bourbon and then your Carbliss black raspberry.
But not like the margarita one.
Like
your
the margarita
normal
one. No, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, or they have a mule recipe. These are cool.
Did you find anything as far as
which ones were the rum products? Let me look here.
Just because I've mentioned it before that my spirit of choice outside of beer is rum. So it'd be interesting to see what those are.
Tequila. I thought I saw it on here, but I don't see which ones are the rum. But...
Well, we can look into that and kind of go from there. Yeah, so I guess what are your thoughts on this watermelon?
I love it. Honestly, I've not had it before. So I'm pleasantly surprised because, again, watermelon for me is kind of like a hit or miss. Either it's like way too sweet or maybe a little funk aftertaste. But this is really good. And the smell, and that's, I think, the flavor and the smell. Sometimes you take a smell and you're like, oh, wow, this is going to be really good. And then you're like really disappointed. And this is not that way at all.
Yep. So we've talked about that on the podcast before, Jim and I, where you smell a beer and there's times, because, that we're into like the bourbon barrel stuff and that. And there's times where it has a really strong aroma of bourbon. And then when you taste it, there's just like nothing there. So I wondered with this one, because it is a pretty strong watermelon smell aroma, But yeah, it is impressive. I'm surprised. Like I said, my opinion, it is just on that verge of being almost a little bit oversweet, but it's still, I think you could definitely drink a number of them. And I don't know, I still don't have any heartburn yet, so that's good.
Very good.
Boy, so compared to the original, I would say right now, watermelon, I like that above the original. The original was a very good margarita, like your classic margarita flavor. But this one, I think it just kind of gives you that extra, little something it's really good. I'm impressed.
You can't go bad, I don't think, any kind of flavored margarita. But Mike, are you an over ice or a blended margarita guy?
That's a good question. I guess it all depends. Normally, I would probably say I lean a little bit more towards the blended side. But then when you are, drinking it through a straw, then you get like the
cold headache.
ice cream headache kind of thing, And I know we've had it both both on ice and blended. And I guess it to me it's. I could go either way, but normally I've been a blended type fan, but honestly, these right now are kind of steering me a little bit more to do, to try margaritas more just on the rocks, or on ice to see how they taste. How about yourself?
I like blended, but again, same deal with, you end up with a lot of slush at the end.
Right. Yeah. It's just like all the juices out of it. And you just got like the freezy.
Yeah. Like blah, snow cone type stuff.
Yeah, there you go. I was say whatever's left in a snow cone when you get all the flavoring out of it. That's what it looks like. So, Oh, yes.
And then if your blended doesn't necessarily get chopped up like it should, then it gets stuck in your straw, and then you have a problem there.
You get that one big ice chunk in the bottom, and it always gets in there.
Or if you're doing flavored margaritas and they use real fruit, you get a big chunk of like strawberry stuck in there. That could be an issue.
Oh, wow. Yeah. See, you got to think of all these things.
Yeah. Lots of things to think about.
Oh, yes.
What's our next flavor?
Well, now we're going to go a little bit, I guess you could say, would you say Caribbean? It's mango margarita.
Oh, mango. When we vacationed, where was it? Mangoes that were falling from the trees?
Yep.
Was that where was that?
It's where we rode in that van and he took us to the restaurant.
Down by the river. No.
Remember where they made the guacamole and
right in front of us, and you kept trying to talk to the little boy that was doing the guacamole, and he couldn't speak English.
He couldn't speak English.
I didn't know that.
He smiled, shook his head, and I'm like, I looked at him. I go, you don't understand what I'm saying.
And we ate outside in this it was an open air little patio, and they had a tin roof, and these mangoes kept coming down and like hitting the tin roof and scaring the bejesus out of us. But then they were like, "Oh, you can have it or whatever." So they'd go get it and bring it over, and we'd cut it open, and we ate it right at the table. It was amazing.
And of course, after that, once our daughter heard it hit the roof, she was looking for it because I don't remember how many mangoes she had.
She okay. So that would have been when we did the Mexican Riviera.
Oh yes, so it would have either been
Mexican Riviera. So was it Puerto Vallarta?
Because we went to Puerto Vallarta.
That was the first stop.
The second? It wasn't Mazatlan, was it?
No. The second one was Mazatlan.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then
that was the first place that we went, though, I think.
Yeah, so it would have been Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah,
and it was like I said, the food was amazing. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it was always funny. I was okay with like guacamole until we went to on the cruises, but then we went and stayed in Cozumel, and we had
their fresh
guacamole. Oh my word, good fresh. Guacamole is amazing.
Crazy amazing.
And so every place
I've never been an avocado fan.
Right.
I mean, really, it was always mushy to me, and then it turned colors and ugh.
Can I just say avocado toast?
It's good with egg on top, though. I mean, it's very good protein.
We had wraps and stuff like that before where it had avocado, and you get it, and I'm just like, there's avocado. Now, guacamole I like, but just the mushy avocado is kind of
Yeah. So this is mango.
This is mango. So color-wise, it's kind of a mango-y
it smells
color.
Like mango.
It's a little, lighter color, like an orange color. Oh, yeah, that smells like mango.
Wow, that's really good, too.
Wow.
The bad thing about this is it tastes like breakfast juice. And you could drink them all day long, but they're, what did you say? 5%.
I could see where these could sneak up on you. Mm-hmm. And this one, my opinion, is more of a natural flavor to me than the watermelon was. Mm-hmm. I think like I said, the watermelon was almost on the verge of being too sweet. Where this one, I think, is really good. I'm impressed. So our daughter's playing a basketball tournament in Hawaii this year over Thanksgiving. So I wonder if they have mangoes in Hawaii, or if those are just in. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I've never been to Hawaii. That's what we're going to talk about later, but we can talk about it now because that's kind of one of our bucket list trips, and it just happened to work out to where their basketball team is playing in a tournament there, and so it's one of those. Who knows if we'll ever get a chance to go again? Right. And so we're going. So I'm hoping that I know one of the hotels that sounded like it's right next to the one we're staying in. Yeah, it's like a half a block or a block and a half away or something. They have, I think it's a tap room from Maui Brewing. Mm-hmm. So knock on wood and everything goes according to plan, I am hoping that we can go over there and do an on location, do a flight or two of their beer, see what they have and try it out. Cause I know I've had a couple of beers here in the States from them, but I'm sure that it'll be, they'll have a lot more to offer. I would sure think there, and such.
What's the name of that one brewery that's in Hawaii?
Are you thinking of Kona?
Yeah.
Now, there is kind of interesting because it's Kona Brewing, but I'm not even sure that they actually brew in Hawaii.
Oh,
they
really?
have locations all across the U.S. as well.
Well, this would be a good time for our listeners to interact with us. And if you listen to the podcast, and if you've been in Hawaii and can recommend we're staying in Waikiki Beach.
Yep.
So anything, and like the island's that big. I mean, we could Uber. But honestly, if there's any kind of suggestions that you might have, things that might even not be, a national brewery, just anything local, obviously, because, there's...
I would prefer that almost,
Yeah, we should hit up our friends, Shyla.
Oh, yeah, and ask them, because they're from Hawaii.
Yeah.
That would be a good one. And then, we had talked about, another trip coming up, and we're actually going to be going to Florida in 3 weeks, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be in the Destin area.
Yes. And Pensacola.
So here again, if you are familiar with those areas, let us know, if there's brewery that we need to hit, you got to go there when you're in Destin or in Pensacola. We will be hooking up with BK and his family because his son is actually stationed there. He's in school for the Navy and he's graduating, right?
In October.
Out of this
his first school.
So we were actually going to be down there anyway, so we just extended our trip for a couple days, and we'll hook up with them as well. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any breweries in either Hawaii or that part of Florida, let us know. Send us an email.
Yeah, because this year we're gonna blow our wad with vacations, so we're not gonna be traveling much after this.
Yeah, until I can build up my vacation again.
So we'll have to live it up while we can this fall. And we just wanted to shout out and send our prayers to all the people down in Florida and Tennessee and North Carolina with the hurricane down there. It's
that
horrible.
Is just, you think about it. And again, in the Midwest, yes, we have we have tornadoes, we have blizzards, things like that. But I would rather deal with those storms than a hurricane, and it just seems like it's being more regular, I guess, where these giant hurricanes. And this is kind of late in the season. Well,
and for it to go that far into North Carolina and into Tennessee, we have a nephew that lived in Asheville for a short amount of time. And there's Highland breweries there, I believe, because
there's a lot of breweries.
There's a lot. Well, there was.
Yeah.
There were a lot there. And I rep a t-shirt all the time. It's one of my favorite t-shirts from Highland Brewing that our brother-in-law brought back from us when they went down to visit. So our thoughts and prayers are with everyone down there.
Yep. It's just amazing to see because the way I always pictured it was, Florida would have got the worst of it. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't seem like that's what happened this time. It was like once it got inland, it really kind of got bad. Even worse, I should say, not bad because it was already bad.
Right. But I just, the amount of rain and, I don't want to say infrastructure, but the waterway systems with the dams and everything that far in just weren't equipped to handle all of that.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully, I know there's still a lot of people that are unaccounted for. I hope that they are able to find them all, and they're all safe and healthy is, the way we hope it goes, and I guess since we're kind of doing, our thoughts and prayers, we also have to include this last 2 days in the sporting world. We lost a couple of icons. First, Dikembe Mutombo for the NBA. And today we just found out that Pete Rose passed away. And I still say that was an injustice. And if and when they put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, it's going to make me even more upset because they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox on that. But, Dikembe Mutombo, because, I played basketball, not at the level that my daughter does, but I played it in. So I've watched a lot more basketball. And, he was I always got a kick out of when he'd block a shot and then he always did the little finger wag until the NBA made it the no fun league, and told me couldn't do that. And I did hear today, I didn't realize he has the 20th most rebounds and he's the second most block shots.
Oh, really?
Do you know who has the first, is number one for block shots in NBA history?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Incorrect. No. I'll give
Incorrect?
you 2 more guesses. Wilt Chamberlain is incorrect.
Block shots.
What I'll do, you take.
Well, Kareem. Not Kareem either.
No. The hint I'll give, well, this may not help you anyway, is my favorite basketball player of all time. He played for the Rockets.
Oh, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon.
Hakeem the Dream, yep. Actually, was in Houston working for a company when they were in the finals. And that's all I did. I went back to the hotel and just watched basketball. It was great.
Yeah, he was. That team there was something.
Yeah,
with him and Drexler,
Clyde Drexler, and that was college though, right? That was
college.
His college. That was Houston. He played for Houston in college, but he played for the Rockets too.
Correct,
yeah.
And then Drexler ended up going to Houston towards the end of his career.
Clyde the Glide. Yep. He was one of my favorites.
They were part of Phi Slamma Jamma in college. Getting back to the Carbliss here, I guess, like I said, mango, I really like that. I think I like that better than the watermelon just because it has more of a natural flavor to me.
I'm still perplexed that Wilt Chamberlain wasn't the leader in blocks.
Well, we have to look back. It could be one of those things that
maybe they didn't even keep
the
stats.
NFL. They didn't keep sacks until whatever time, So we'll have to look into that. But I just heard it on the radio today.
Of course, nobody probably drove the lane because they knew they were going to get blocked anyway.
Because he was one of the few 7-footers at the time, so they probably didn't challenge him as much.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And it's funny you bring that up because people, I always say when they bring up, who's the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan or LeBron James? Which Michael Jordan. But I always bring up, what about Wilt Chamberlain?
Yeah.
Because he still holds records that'll never be broke.
Right.
And people, there wasn't the caliber of players. Well, that wasn't his fault.
Right.
So anyway, it was just kind of one of those things.
We're kind of a basketball family, so you'll have to bear with us during this segment.
Yeah.
What's our next flavor?
Well, we have 2 left. So the first one is strawberry margarita.
And I will have to make the disclaimer, this is my go-to. I drink this all the time. I love this.
So you're a little bit
Carbliss. I'm a little biased, but I usually, if I'm going to drink during the week, I will cut it with a little Diet 7-Up and mix it so that I don't have to reap the repercussions of the 5% when I drink too many. And the strawberry is clear.
It's clear. I guess I would have thought that it would have had a little bit of almost like the watermelon color.
Yeah.
I'd have expected.
Yep. No, it's a clear.
You can smell strawberry. It almost smells like a fresh strawberry. Mm-hmm. Reminds me of the place north of here where we get strawberries in the summer.
Yes. Comstocks.
No.
Oh, Stanley. Yep. Not as overbearing strawberry.
No, it's a little bit of those.
Weak.
Of those, all these flavors, that's kind of the weakest.
Mm-hmm. As far as flavor goes.
But the aftertaste, it hangs on and it's strawberry. Mm-hmm. That's pretty incredible. Huh.
So the can is pinkish strawberry on the top. It's not like red.
Right.
It's more of a pink. You really have to kind of look to see what the flavors are because some of the colors of the cans are white and then the top.
Because the watermelon is green.
Yes. Watermelon's green and then the mango is kind of orangey.
And then the original margarita is kind of a light blue or kind of a teal or no, it's almost like a sky blue. Yeah, it's a lighter blue.
But strawberry is one of my favorites.
And you normally mix it with 7-Up, you said?
Diet 7-Up. Yep.
Okay.
Over ice.
And how does that change it?
It just makes it a little more fizzy. The flavor's still there, but obviously it's diluted by the lemon in the in the 7-Up. Yeah. But I've also had it with like LaCroix water. Put water in it. That's not bad either. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Interesting. Yeah, it's like I said, this is again, it's not as sweet as the watermelon. And I'm sure when they had to probably sweeten up the watermelon a little bit just because watermelon is such a delicate flavor at times. You know what I mean? You have to have a lot more flavor to taste it.
Right.
But I don't know. I guess right now it's kind of a toss-up between this and the mango for me, and which one is better. Because, I mean, that mango really had a good flavor to my opinion.
I like them all. I would have to say my least favorite so far is just the original, just because it's just like margarita.
Right.
It's not, there isn't that other flavor added to it.
Yep. I was going to say it did remind me of like a classic margarita. I mean, that's what most places call it, just your regular margarita, your standard margarita. It did taste like that. They did a good job there. And like I said, each of these flavors they have not had a bad one, which I give them credit for. Because I know we've tried some other stuff and it's, some of the flavors that they have, it's not really, it's just, some of them are fake kind of flavor and other ones are just way overdone. They've balanced it really well. I'm impressed.
So the variety packs usually come in, is it 6 or 8? Is it 8?
8, I think.
I think the varieties pack comes in 8 and there's 4 flavors, 2 of each. Yep. two cans of each flavor. Not the original though. The original I think is in a different packaging scheme.
These ones, the original was not in there.
Right.
We had this from before.
Yeah.
And then the other ones, it was they were in that pack.
But one thing I would like to let people know is depending on your distributor or liquor store or where you buy your beverages, they do come in 4-packs of the single flavors. So I obviously like the strawberry. So I could buy a 4-pack of just the strawberry.
Oh, okay.
If that's...
that's good information to know.
Yeah. They're not cheap.
Well... Most people that listen to the podcast, they're used to spending a little extra on beers.
They're not, and they're not something that you're going to probably get at a local festival in Wisconsin because there's such a price difference in like a normal seltzer or something.
So you're saying these are more expensive than like the other brands that are like?
Well, I can't say that for sure, but I do know, being part of a kind of a help out with a local festival around here, that, you want to try to have your cocktail choices or your beverage choices to be around the same price point.
Yep.
Otherwise, then you have to worry about what you're going to charge for a ticket to purchase a beverage. So you want to refrain from the real high-priced, individually packaged things because you wouldn't make your money back if you were paying, charging $4 for the same as a beer ticket for a cocktail that costs you $8 or $6 or whatever. So just to be careful on that side.
So that's why you're saying they don't have barrel-aged beers there?
That would be why.
Huh. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess now
you know.
I know.
Now you know.
But yeah, it has really been interesting to me or kind of blown me away a little bit. And I don't know why, but it seems like the first one I really remember hearing much about, I guess, would have been White Claw.
Oh, right.
Like that kind of thing. But now it just seems like every week there's a new one, or maybe not quite as many new ones as it had been going there for a while. But I think now you've really got, I think there's probably 5 or 6 that are really the quote unquote big dogs, in this market, and it's kind of interesting to see how they're kind of not fighting it out, but they seem to play well together. But, how if this one has this flavor, all the rest of them have their version, of this flavor.
Well, I think too, it's not only, obviously the market tends to dictate what people and businesses kind of invest in and do their research and that kind of thing. But the variety of who's trying to get into that, as part of the camper close down, we had to clean out our camper fridge. And we have a small fridge behind our bar. The Upper Crust Cantina is the name of our little bar at our resort and home in the north. But we had one thing that happens when you have a little home away from home in a place that people like to come and visit and drink is they leave a lot of stuff for you to drink and store for them.
We inherit a lot
of stuff. So in the fridge clean out, I think we had a Captain Morgan, but that was a malt beverage. Yes. I don't know. I think that might have been Callie one because it wouldn't have been Noelle because she can't do malt. But there was a passion fruit Captain Morgan malt beverage. And you would think Captain Morgan, that would be rum, but it wasn't. There was no rum in it, although it said Captain Morgan on it, which was kind of weird.
That's weird because I just pulled it out and looked to see what it was, and I guess I took for granted it was rum too.
And then there was, how do you say it, Svedka or
some kind of
vodka.
Svedka. It was a vodka tea.
Vodka tea or something. And that's another thing that we've not done, unless you guys have tried it, is like the twisted tea or the hard teas. Yep. That might have to be another one, although you'd have to get your daughter to do that because I'm not a big tea person.
Well, and we've talked about, because we haven't done a seltzer. We haven't done hard lemonade.
Did a seltzer, didn't we? Oh.
No, we haven't done hard lemonade, which most of those hard lemonades I get heartburn from. But there was the Sand Creek, but I don't know the status of that. It's kind of up in the air yet. I haven't seen it around much lately, and I'd heard rumors that Sand Creek was for sale, but nothing has happened yet. So hopefully that'll get straightened out and it'll be back, because I thought they had a really good one. Another one that we've talked about, and I can't believe that I'm bringing it up again, but is non-alcoholic. And, it was always interesting because when I first thought about non-alcoholic beers, it was like, if you tasted one, it was like, ugh, you know, and now they've got almost, you know, IPA, they've got lagers, they've got stouts, they've got, sours, they've got all these that are non-alcoholic. And so I think we're going to try and get, you know, a number of different styles, you know, one of each of these different styles, try them. And they're, you know, to be non-alcoholic, it has to be 0.5% or less. Mm-hmm. So,
well, I've heard too that that's one of the largest growing sectors in even the cocktail industry is the mocktail, where they're trying to develop. Well, we saw it on Moonshiners.
Yeah.
Preface that we do, that they had this competition, or it was the competition, the reality deal where they bring in master distiller, where they bring in people to make their moonshine. And that one episode, one of their challenges was they had to make a non-alcoholic version of the same thing they were making as in the moonshine. So it had to be, you know.
So you're saying the kiddie cocktail was before its time.
Yeah, it was. It was for sure.
Interesting. That is crazy though. Yeah. You think about it, but honestly, you know, it wasn't that long ago. If you had a non-alcoholic beer, it was not very good. You know,
so you had to drink it on ice. And I mean, when I was pregnant with Callie, I tried O'Doul's, but it just didn't do it for me.
You know, I think that's the only one that I ever really tasted before was O'Doul, and you know. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see now with how big craft beer's gotten all these different styles. What does a non-alcoholic IPA taste like? What does a non-alcoholic stout taste like? You know, it'll be interesting to see, are they still eek, or, you know, or are they going to be better? So, well, I guess on that note, we have one more to try of these Carbliss Margaritas, and this is raspberry.
Ooh.
So the difference it's a little bit more purplish, reddish.
Can color. We don't know what the inside is like yet.
No.
The strawberry was clear.
Oh, it's not as dark. Pink. It's not as dark as the watermelon, though.
No.
That still was kind of crazy that the top of the can for watermelon is green, but the liquid was a darker red.
It's more like, almost like a lilac color.
Yeah. I'd have thought this would have been the color for watermelon. And then the darker would have been for raspberry. Ooh, that smells like raspberry.
Oh, total raspberry.
Now, it'll be interesting because we've talked about it before, where one of my favorite stouts is Dragon's Milk, and they have variants every year, and they had a raspberry hibiscus variant of their stout, and it was so over the top raspberry, I couldn't enjoy it very much. You know, and it's like, that's been the thing on especially the stout side, where either it's way too much raspberry or you can't taste it. So this will be interesting to see. Now, of course, this is not, you know, barrel aged or a real heavy beer, so it'll be interesting, but to see how that raspberry transfers through it.
I like it. It's more wait a little bit though. The after is when it really.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, that's definitely a smoother raspberry.
Yeah. So one of our favorite holiday dishes is my sister has her famous raspberry pretzel crap. And this tastes like raspberry pretzel crap.
Pretty close.
Without the whipped cream and the pretzels.
Well, and she actually changed it up now because it's mixed berry crap.
But yeah.
But no, this is good. But it does remind me of that flavor.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, this is not, like I said, I don't know why. It's not like that Dragon's Milk was just so strong a raspberry. That's all you could taste. You know, I mean, just way overkilled everything. Where this is a very good flavor to it. I like it.
Speaking of holidays, so that's, you probably told this story about how you actually got into craft beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
But good reminder, actually the creator of the raspberry pretzel crap, it was her husband, Ron, that...
and he's been on the podcast.
Yeah, he's the one that would bring, what was the Liney's variety pack? And you thought that was crazy.
Christmas pack or whatever it was. Yeah, and the first time I ever had the creamy dark, and I was like, oh, this is strong. I can't already drink this. And we've talked about it before. Now you drink it and it's like, there's no flavor here. There's nothing, you know, and and you look at it, I think it's a little over 6%, but at the time it was like, oh man, this is strong.
Yeah.
You know, but then you think about it, it's the same reaction people do with Guinness. They think that is, oh my gosh, that's super strong. It's 4.8%. It's less than these, you know, but it's just that flavor. You know, a lot of times people don't like that that flavor. But yes, Ron is he was also, Ron and Bob, that we were the first three that started doing beer tastings up at the campground. And now that's been over 20 years ago.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy. And then I proceeded to take that knowledge and poor judgment and peer pressure to all these other people, and ta-da, we have a podcast.
Yep,
so
exactly. Lots of good things have come out of holidays and friends and the Northwoods. Probably, we have basically a second family now in the last, since I went bear hunting up there. That was when we really kind of connected with our new family at Callahan. But
right.
You don't meet good friends and make lifelong friends over a salad. Right?
Or mass-produced, big name beers.
Right.
That just doesn't happen.
Yeah. So if you think about it, the Northwoods and our special spot up north, we've gotten to know like a ton of people, obviously, but made probably more friends. And people that we now vacation with and, just to have that connection that is priceless. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Pretty crazy.
Even though this last weekend was a rough one for me because it was the Packer Viking game, and most of our friends there are Viking fans, and they're not very gracious Viking fans. So I have to kind of block that part out of our friendship. But
we have to admit, I was probably the
you were the nicest one
of
a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
It's okay. I still love them. They just need to have better manners. My dad always said, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. So just remember that, BK.
Yes, he did say that he probably was, I can't remember how he said it, but it was to the effect of he was in trouble a lot.
Yeah, he was in trouble a lot. That's okay. I still love him. So.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, hey, so of these, I guess, how would you rate them as far as what was your favorite flavor? And I know, it's kind of just
I'm biased because I love this. I love the strawberry, but aside from the strawberry, I would have to almost agree with you that, it depends on when I'd want to drink it. If it was like a morning, like you can't drink all day if you don't start early day,
yes,
then it would be the mango, because that's kind of like a breakfast taste. But the watermelon was a pleasant surprise as well. So I would have to maybe go with mango/watermelon.
I was going to say, for me, it's kind of a toss-up for me. I think the mango was probably still my number one. Number two is close between the strawberry and the raspberry. I think the raspberry had a little bit more of a pronounced flavor. And the watermelon would be fourth. Just because, like I said, for me, it was kind of on that verge of almost being too sweet. But it was still very good. And then the original. And again, there's nothing wrong with the original. But these other ones are just, in my opinion, kind of blew it away.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't think anybody would be upset with any of these flavors. And let's see, so that was 5 of them, and I don't feel any heartburn at this point, so that's a good thing.
No, very, very good thing. So I'm going to go back to their website. Again, no malt, no carbs, no sugar, and their tagline is Liss, Liss, is more.
Liss is more.
Liss is more. But their story, Adam and Amanda Kroner, it was 2018. Okay. So one of my favorite movie remakes of all time came out in 2018. A Star is Born, who, another sad passing this week from the original, wasn't Chris Christopherson in the original?
Yep.
And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle got married that summer as well.
Take the good with the bad, I guess.
And Beyonce played Coachella, which I don't even know what Coachella is. But
okay.
So that's when they actually started Carbliss and when Carbliss was born. So that's pretty cool.
So they're only 5 years old, or 6 years old, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. They've come a long ways in 6 years.
Yeah, Carbliss is light and refreshing. Lots of testimonials. I don't know. I just like it because it's not, it's flavorful.
I was going to say, I usually don't dive into these, but these are good. I'm impressed. I think they do a good job, and I can understand now why so many people like drinking them.
For sure. Liss is more.
Liss is more. There you go. Carbliss, if you're listening, we would be open. Suzy be open for a pro staff position.
Yeah, pro staff. I am I have some world records out there we'll talk about later.
Yes. That's for a different time, different podcast.
Different podcast.
Things like that. So, well, hey, Suzy, thank you so much for agreeing to sit in once again on this. I'll try to keep it, another 40 episodes or so.
There we go.
So it keeps the pressure off. But I'm glad that you are willing to fill in when when Jim or the other guys are kind of out of the area.
Basically, I was his last resort.
No, that's not it. You were my first choice of the people that I knew that were around our house.
Because the dog can't talk.
Neither can the cat.
Oh, funny.
But like I said, we're going to be, doing some trips. And again, if you know of breweries in the Destin or Pensacola, Florida area, or the Waikiki area, please let us know. I'm going to probably put messages out too to just see, what people recommend. And, then we'll end up, I think in March, that time frame will be in the Kansas City area as well. And I definitely want to look at, seeing who's there. I know there's a lot of breweries there. One gentleman was, kind enough to kind of give me some ideas on where to go as well. So I'm hoping that we can get there and, hit some of those up and, see what they got. Cause it's kind of a neat thing. I always enjoy it just to see what the scene is like in these other areas of the country. Cause when like up here, a lot of times it's because we're very familiar with this area. And it seems like a lot of times some of the craft breweries, they do a lot of the similar stuff. And it'll be interesting to see, especially when we're in Florida or Hawaii. And if you remember right, when we were on the cruise before, we were in, was it the Bahamas, where we went to Pirate Republic?
Yes, that was in Nassau.
And then we did Leatherback in St. Thomas.
Yes.
And it was really interesting to see how they do stuff. And it's just kind of a neat thing just to kind of get kind of a picture of the craft beer scene. And I know there's a lot of, you always hear the doom and gloom that, this brewery is shut down or that brewery, but there's a lot of breweries popping up every day. And I think craft beer is here to stay.
Absolutely.
And that's good for all of us that there's all these different choices and flavor. Again,
exactly.
Once people realize that beer should have flavor, and apparently these drinks here, they have a lot of flavor, and I was impressed.
Yeah. And we just want to bid adieu to our family and friends in the Northwoods as we close our camper for the winter and try to make plans to connect during the winter so we don't lose touch.
Yeah.
But we'll see you in April.
Yeah. And like one of the gentlemen there every year is probably closer, is at the end of October. He always sends out a message on Facebook to everybody. Remember to turn off your outside faucets.
Outside water spigot. Yep.
So it doesn't freeze. So that's coming up. So if you got an outside, if you're anywhere where it gets cold, remember, shut the water off to the outside faucet before it breaks.
For sure.
All right. Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for listening. Hopefully you found this entertaining. Suzy gave us some knowledge on some things. So, and again, did it way nicer than Jim does. So I appreciated that. And like I said, let us know if you have any suggestions on places to go. Otherwise, we will continue this again, and we'll have another podcast next Friday. And like we always say, we hope your campfire's always warm.
And your beer is always cold.
See ya. Thank you for listening to the Northwoods Beer Guy podcast. If you have a question, a comment, or a beer you'd like us to review, please feel free to send us a message at northwoodsbeerguy@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you're on Untappd, look up Northwoods Beer Guy and send a friend request. Until next week, I hope all your campfires are warm and all your beer is cold.